Okay, when y'all see thou shalt be equally yoked, what do you think of?
An egg.
An egg? Okay. What do you think of, Kristen?
I don't really know yet.
Okay. Well, this is talking about a different kind of yolk. Not an egg yolk, but it's talking about a different kind of yolk that you guys probably don't relate to because you don't see it nowadays. Okay.
We've had the opportunity and the privilege to counsel those who are dating because we believe that whatever's going on in a dating relationship is going to just get even bigger,
Right.
worse or better, whatever the case may be, in a marriage relationship. And so what we found is that when they get to that butting of heads, only one person wants to come. Only one person wants to make things better. Only one person wants to, what can I do to save this relationship?
Right. This is where people confuse and misinterpret the phrase unequally yoked. Explain why unequally yoked applies here in the work that someone is doing.
The idea is this: a yoke. A yoke is what they put on the neck of an oxen.
Right.
Of ox. Two ox who are plowing a field. So what's happening is they have to go the same direction, in step with each other, at the same momentum, with the same timing, right? In step with each other. If one ox is weaker than the other, then the stronger one risks pulling dead weight. If they're going in two different directions, then they risk hurting each other and potentially involuntarily hanging each other on that yoke where they're connected at.
Right.
If one decides they don't want to move and the other one decides that they want to move, they both potentially risk being starved because they graze as they go forward and no work is being done. Equally yoked is so important because you want to make sure that you're going the same direction with the same goals in the relationship, for the relationship, and in general with each other. You're forcing them, the person you have to continuously sell to continually to be with you, the person that you're dragging along, and you're breaking your neck doing it.
We continuously see people coming to us broken and beat down because they're carrying weight that they had no business carrying in the first place.
Yes.
Relationships are supposed to be two ways as far as it's supposed to take two people. If you find that you are being broken down and they're not doing anything, they're not bad people, they're not necessarily a malicious person, they just have no desire to do the work to love you the way that you need to be loved as much as you desire to do the work to love them the way that they need to be loved. And that's where you begin to feel broken and rejected and beat down, is because you've been dragging this dead weight. And all it is depleting your energy, and you're proverbially breaking your neck under the weight of that burden in that relationship.
Okay. So, unequally yoked relationships. I found a couple of pictures. Two people who will be headed in two different directions. What's wrong about that picture?
That cow married a jackass. That heifer married a jackass.
So,
That could have been my first wedding photo.
be nice. Which one do you think's stronger in this relationship?
The cow.
Which one do you think's more stubborn?
The dog.
Yeah, I think so.
She said dog. I was like, what?
So this is what you end up with. I'm going in two different directions. One being stubborn to go one way and see the donkey's kicking. So that's what it's like if you're unequally yoked. There are 5 things that are seen and very dangerous when you're talking about being unequally yoked. The missionary relationship, the Mother Teresa relationship, the exotic relationship, the sugar daddy relationship, and the rebel without a cause relationship. And any of these relationships are unequally yoked, And they're very dangerous. Does this look like a dangerous relationship?
Yeah.
He might bite her head off. You think?
No, I take offense that you said that's a he.
Offense.
Just
That's
saying.
offensive. That's offensive.
It could be that she might bite his head off.
Could be.
You're good.
Okay. When we're talking about the missionary relationship, what thoughts come to mind? That's kind of an odd way to put it, isn't it? You have any thoughts on what that could be?
No.
Okay, well there's two types in this relationship. Type 1 thinks all of the good Christian men and women are taken. So there's no good Christian men or women in the church because the good ones are taken. So they seek a relationship from outside the church and try to convert him or her to their faith. They might go to the bar. They might go, and it doesn't even have to be the bar. It could be the racetrack, the horse show, a sporting event, someone who doesn't necessarily believe in what they believe in, so they're going to convert them. The second type, they date someone without any spiritual compatibility, and when I'm talking about spiritual, how you believe about God and your faith, and they hang on because they're going to change them. They're going to change that person. Do you think you can change somebody else? You don't? What about you, Kristen? CC, you think you can change your friends? You don't know? Missionary daters have the need to justify the relationship on saving the other person. That's why they're dating them, because they're going to save them. They're going to invite them to church. They're going to convert them. They're going to fix them.
Who you think usually gets fixed?
The other person that invited them.
Yeah, right. The person that invites you, usually the one that gets fixed. You are right.
You're good.
This overlaps a little bit with the Mother Teresa relationship. This is based upon the dynamic of caretaking. One partner is the nurse, the other partner is the patient. And I'm not necessarily saying that it has to be a physical or a medical condition, but one partner tends to be the caretaker and the other one tends to be the one that's always taken care of. It's a codependent relationship. They're trying to take care of or change the other. If you attract and hang on to needy people, ask yourself why. If you're trying to attract and you hang on to these needy people, then you need to say, I gotta go get a life. Here's this girl. Morning, Sunshine. Are you mad at me? Don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. It's not my fault there are scary things. Want to hug me? You look good in these jeans. You think this guy's gonna hang around? No. If only needy and desperate were attractive qualities. Y'all know anybody needy that always has to have somebody help them and fix them? Yeah. And that could be a friendship relationship too, because that's not good either.
Another form of this is the other person saying, well, all the time, well, you don't really care about me. You don't really love me. And all you're doing is just being you and doing the best you can. And they just constantly tell you, you don't love me. And there's no way you can convince somebody that until they fix their own self.
And in a give and take relationship, both people are trying to take care of the others and see the other's needs and trying to accommodate for them and trying to understand. But if one person's always giving, the other person's always taking, that's not good.
You're good.
Then there's the exotic relationship. I bet y'all think this one's dirty. Do y'all think it's a dirty relationship? I see the smirks and the grins. Well, you're going to be surprised. It's two people from radically different cultural or ethnic backgrounds. I'm not saying that marrying across race lines is bad. Not saying that. What I'm saying, cultural or ethnic backgrounds. It's based on the mystery of being with someone completely different in many ways. And I'm going to go the extremes.
Like somebody from south of the river marrying
That's not an extreme. You're not going to get.
marrying a royalty.
What if a Christian from south of the river, let's say, married a Muslim from Afghanistan? Do you think there'd be cultural differences?
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. Okay. And a lot of times the exotic relationships are kind of like where they're so vastly different. Check your motives. Make sure you fully understand the differences you will encounter. Look at this couple. Well, they're not popping up. They don't want to pop up. There they go. Do they look like they're from very different relationships?
Mm.
Yeah, she looks like she is of Oriental descent, and he looks like he could be German, Scottish. He could be American. Do you think they're going to have a lot of differences? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of differences, and they need to understand, both of them each, the other person's difference. When I was about your age, there was a girl I knew that was a Christian, and she married a Jewish guy, and he was dyed-in-the-wool Jewish. Do you think there were a lot of differences there to overcome? Yeah. She believes Christ is the Messiah, and he does not. Do you think they have... I don't even know if they made it, but do you think they would stand a chance of making it?
Well,
I think they had a lot of work to do if they were going to make it. Okay, then you have the sugar daddy relationship. In this, there's a substantial age difference between the partners. If you're saying yes ma'am or yes sir to your partner, you might be in a sugar daddy relationship. These types are usually trying to compensate for some unmet emotional need or expecting their partner to fill in for mom or dad. So they, you know, my dad was never around. A young girl might marry an older man or vice versa. And I've seen younger guys marry older women. It can go either way. These relationships on the beginning provide some financial or emotional security early on. But at some point, they're not going to be compatible. What can you think of a 20-year-old marrying a, let's say, a 45-year-old? Can you think there's going to be anything that's going to come up that you can think right off the hand that might make them incompatible? What about when that 45-year-old gets to be 60 and that 25-year-old is 35? Can you think of any differences there? You can't? Can you, Kelsey?
Their ages.
Okay, what about that? Let's look at that. What's the 35-year-old going to be able to do that the 60-year-old might not want to do or be able to do? Do you think a 35-year-old is going to be more active?
go out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The 60-year-old going to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. The 60-year, and their health may be failing by that point. So those are going to be some things that are going to, at some point, the younger one's going to say, I'm married to an old person I'm going to have to take care of.
I still want to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Do
I
what?
said I still want to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I do.
Me too, especially when you're kids.
This goes the other way too. You can have somebody in high school want to date in order to get out of the house.
Yeah. Just to marry somebody that'll take care of them so they can get out of the way from mom and dad.
There's no reason to enter into a marriage. It'll fail.
Then you have the rebel without a cause relationship. This is where you date someone out of rebellion to your parents, you choose someone who's totally opposite of what your family would want for you, you're not recognizing that your family has the best interest for you. You're usually not really in love with them. You just are angry, or you're trying to define yourself as independent and trying to establish a sense of autonomy. I am who I am and I can do what I want to do. And if you've ever seen the movie Grease, okay, did they have different backgrounds?
Yeah.
Do you think her parents would be happy with her dating him? No. Do you think if they married they would last? Why not?
Because they're different.
How different are they? Explain that to me.
Oh, he's like Mr. Bad Boy, and she's, oh, I want to do this the right way.
So do you think they're going to have conflicts if they were to get married down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to cause problems in the marriage? Yeah, I think so.
Most marriage problems can be fixed before you get married.
By choosing the right person.
Some of us had to screw that up once, so
Well, I can say that too.
yeah, we want you to not make that mistake.
And last week we talked about checking with family and good friends, not just friends that say what they think you want them to say, but checking with family that's going to say, hey, I can see this as a disaster because I know I was told, you were told, you've been told?
My dad told me.
Yeah.
That's how I explained to Kelsey. My dad was a lot like Arlen. He didn't really know because he was a man, so he didn't really know how to
Say it too.
caringly sit me down and say, look, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is okay. So he got angry and he yelled, so I did it because I could.
It was rebellion.
Yeah. And it hit me in the face
You're good.
very hard.
So now we've talked about the 5 unequally yoked. Let's talk about being equally yoked. We'd have 2 cows, wouldn't we? You have spiritual connection, a physical connection, and a social connection. Do these guys look like they're enjoying each other?
Yep.
Yeah, they look like they might have something to talk about. They look like they might be attracted to each other. They could be reading the Bible there together, couldn't they?
Yep.
Kind of looks like one, doesn't it?
The most unhappy life that you can live would be a Christian married to a non-Christian.
Amen.
Amen.
You want
They used to have to
avoid
fight
that.
to go to church.
You want to avoid that at all costs because it's misery.
The spiritual connection. You got to ask yourself what you believe about God. Does this person believe the same thing about God? Or do they believe differently about God than you do? That's a big red flag right there. If they don't believe like you believe, then you're going to have problems. How you pray. Do you pray daily? I remember my first husband only believed that you only prayed about the big stuff. I believe you pray about everything. Where you worship. You hear people say, oh, I can worship God out in the woods. And then you might believe, hey, we need to go to church and get fed by the preacher. Do some deep study. Which holidays you celebrate. That can be a big issue with families. Which ones you celebrate and how you celebrate. Which books you hold to be sacred. Do you think it'd be a problem if you believed the Holy Bible was sacred and who you were dating or married to didn't? They thought it was just a book? Is that a deal breaker? Yeah, that is a deal breaker. Your opinion on baptism. There's some people that believe you're sprinkled, some people you don't need to be, some people believe you can't go to heaven if you're not baptized, and some people believe that it's something that you show out of obedience. So you have to determine what your beliefs are. These are just a few components that make up your belief system. This is one of the most intense and intimate parts of you. And a Christian should never date a non-Christian, let alone marry one. No exceptions.
You know why that's common sense?
Because anybody you date, you can fall in love with.
That's true, but you don't marry anybody you don't date.
That's
you marry
right.
people you date. So if all you're marrying is non-Christian, you're going to wind up. If all you date is non-Christians, then you're going to wind up marrying a non-Christian. So the way you fix that is you only date Christians.
Look at this. Now, that's what you like seeing going to church, a whole family. But if you date a non-Christian, and it could be the man taking the kids to church, it could be the woman taking the kids to church, it could be the man or woman taking part of the kids and the other stay home with the other one. You don't want your family split because you don't believe the same. So that's a very important part of it. And this is where it gets into the missionary or the Mother Teresa relationship. You know you're not to date a non-Christian, so you invite them to church. But if they're not saved and they don't live like a Christian, you should never ever date them. No exceptions.
And the reason we're having this conversation is because the scriptures tells us this. The scriptures tells us to not be unequally yoked, and that means not to be, if we can all help it, not be married to someone who's not saved, who's not a Christian, because that's going to be the worst kind of difficulties that you'll ever face in your life. Because the Bible puts it this way: it would be light trying to mix with darkness.
Then there's the physical connection. You need to be attracted to your partner. That's a healthy prerequisite for a relationship. However, most people overdose on this attraction thing and they make it the main and only thing. So at this point, revisit Commandment 2.
Hey, that young handsome thing, when they're about 20 years old, they're going to look a lot different when they're 50.
And that's where it goes back to, thou shalt use your brain. So go back to Commandment 2 and revisit. Now they're just standing there holding hands. They're not all over each other. They've probably dated a while. They might even be better. It's good to be attracted to them, but it's not the only thing, because looks fade. Lots of things fade. Your body moves around.
Yeah, walk away.
There you go. And no one's perfect.
When you're dating and you see a problem with a person, just know that that problem down the road is going to be multiplied by 10.
It gets worse.
That same problem.
Okay,
You say,
then,
oh, this one just drinks a little bit.
then it becomes he drinks a lot.
20 years down the road, can't hold down a job because he drinks too much. That's how the little problems grow.
Then there's the social connection. Important issues with family backgrounds. And just saying, I don't like his family, or his family doesn't like me, or vice versa. There's a lot to take in consideration. Holiday customs. And you don't want to be in a broken or a blended family if you can prevent it and do it right the first time. We have a blended family. Not only do our kids have to deal with my parents and their father's parents, and same thing on his side. His kids have to do that, so that's 4 sets. Then when they marry, then there's a whole nother set that's added in. And then if they have a blended family, then you've got twice as many holiday trips to do, and you end up spending your whole holiday driving from house to house. Or people getting offended because you didn't come by and see them. So if you can stop this on the front end, you won't even have to deal with that on the back end. And then there's family rules. kind of how the order of the family is set in, and what you would expect. Spousal roles expectations. My dad expects a whole lot different out of my mom than he does out of me, doesn't he? And out of the girls. He has more of a traditional outlook on male-female relationships on him and mom than he does his kids or his grandkids. And that, when we talk about spousal role expectations here, when you submit, and you hear this submitting to your husband, and that could be thrown up in your face and stuff, but the big thing you have to understand, it's when you submit and you're respecting your husband, who are you really submitting to? Do you know? Because that sounds like nobody's going to boss me.
You
Huh?
yourself?
No.
No.
You're really submitting to God. Because God set that order up. What would happen? Let's look at school. What would happen if we didn't have a principal and an assistant principal?
It'd be crazy.
People would do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, we would have fighting in the office up front all the time, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Same thing in a family.
Wouldn't be any organization or order.
And you could go to one and get the answer you wanted, maybe, because you might know the other one might say no. So if you have a good set of order set up, then you might hear, well, what did your dad say? What did your mom say? Because they want to be on the same page. One of them doesn't want to say you can do something if the other one said no, or vice versa.
And we don't care that it makes you guys angry. So you know.
And finances. Do you agree on how finances are done?
That's the major reason for divorce, is the family finances. That's the number one reason. One believes you spend every penny when you get it, and the other one believes, no, we got to save a little bit back for the future. Right there's the biggest fight you'll ever have in a home. So if you
Along
see,
with this one, raising children. From I don't believe in spanking to I do believe that kids need to be spanked and corrected. And then you have the whole group that says they're free spirits. We need to let them choose for their own.
have y'all ever given any thought about debt? What if you marry somebody that they're not afraid to get in debt over their head? What does that do to you when they do that? Guess who has to pay for that? They're not going to pay for it. Guess who has to pay for it? You do.
Or if you divorce, you're responsible for part of that.
Mm-hmm. Even in the relationship.
Yeah, they'll take personal finance. Or Christian,
Yeah.
you've had it, haven't you?
But this is a dating
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah.
If you see that problem in a dating relationship, just know that it's going to be worse when you marry them because you can't get out of it.
And on the kids, you really have to agree on how you raise the kids and do the kids, because you could end up with problems.
Mhm.
Let's move on to in-laws. Do you respect your in-laws? How do your in-laws treat you? All these can play into big problems in your relationship, along with domestic responsibilities.
And you're free to stop all this if you're just dating and you're not serious. If you get serious first, then you got to deal with all these problems. If you deal with all these problems first, then you can get serious with somebody that you've already eliminated all this stuff.
On domestic responsibilities, let me ask you this. I'm going to give you a scenario. What if the husband works 40 to 60 hours a week and the wife is stay at home with the kids and sends the kids to school and stuff? What should the husband be responsible for at home? Should he have to come home and cook dinner and take care of the kids?
No.
Why not?
Because
She's been with them all day.
Because he works.
Okay, he's providing an income. Now, should he maybe mow the yard
Yeah.
and take care of the cars and stuff? Okay. What if they both work? Then who should be responsible for what?
They both should do stuff equally.
Kind of share in the work?
Yeah.
Okay. And that is a dialogue before you marry anybody that you need to have. Because if you get the luxury of staying home and raising your kids, then maybe his dinner should be on the table when he gets home. Maybe it should be where y'all could do things as a family, but also understanding if he needs to mow, that you're not going to fuss at him because he's not giving you attention or taking care of the kids. Or if you're both working, then y'all work together on things and oh, the screen turned in there. And kind of divide the work up equally. What about work ethic? Would that be important?
Very.
What if he couldn't hold down a job or she couldn't hold down a job? Is that important?
Yeah.
I know a young man that when he married, he wanted the young lady he married to finish her education and to be able to support herself. Do you think he was being mean?
No.
His whole idea was if something happened to him,
She
he
could
wanted
still
her to be
take
able
care
to
of herself.
take care of herself and any kids they had. So that was probably a good. And if she wasn't a worker, that could have been a deal breaker.
I have a question for you. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're trying to be serious about it, and if you're 17 or 18, has this guy that you're dating, has he had an opportunity to work and hold down a job?
Nope.
So then, if you're trying to get serious at that age, how are you even going to know if he's going to work and provide for you or not?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't. So the answer, the moral to this story is, you don't get serious about anybody until they've had time to hold down a job for several years.
And get your education. Let me tell you something. My parents have been married 60 years. Okay? They've been married longer than they were single. 3 times longer than they were single. So you've got plenty of time to be married. Because hopefully you'll be married for the rest of your life. So don't rush it on the front end. It's kind of like pay now or pay the rest of your life. You pay with a little bit of time to get your education and get to know this person and determine if this is the right person, or you pay the rest of your life because of a bad relationship that either you stay in or you end up divorced. Also, resolving conflict. How does this person resolve conflict? Do they beat the crap out of you? Do they throw bricks at you? Or do y'all sit down and discuss it? How do you resolve conflict? What's the best way? And y'all need to be on the same page about that.
You know what the danger in getting serious in a relationship with somebody when you're 16, 17, 18, sometimes even 19? You spend all the time that you could have been looking for the right person by dating several people, wasting it on one relationship that may never even happen.
And you could have given away, you could have lost a really good relationship because you spent your time.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. If you have intentions on going to college, then you should be telling yourself, I will not be serious about anybody until I'm finished with my goal, until I'm finished with college. That's the best way to make that decision.
Now let me ask you girls a question. Was it easy for your mom to get her schooling after high school? Why not?
Because she had me.
She was married and had kids, didn't she? So she not only was not able to fully focus on her schooling and do what she needed to do, she had a family she cared about and loved very much. So it took her longer, and she doesn't begrudge having you girls by any stretch of the imagination, but she might could have made it easier on you and herself if she'd have gotten her education first.
Yep.
And I think I'm fair in saying that's what she wants for you girls.
Most people that wind up getting married
Never finish their education.
never finish if they haven't finished before they get married. I'm 59. Am I 59?
Yeah, you'll be
I'm-
59 in December.
And all right, I'm 58, and I still haven't finished my bachelor's degree, but I only like one semester. But I've been taking care of family since I was 19.
Now, I got married before I finished mine, and
Now she makes more for that one reason.
because
reason,
I have the bachelor,
she makes
Well, I have
much
a
more
master's.
money than I make
because I have my degree.
for that one decision. I had 2 kids by the time I was 19.
Me too.
Well, I guess the good Lord blessed me because I couldn't have kids until I took medicine for a year or two. So I was married and going to school, but I couldn't have kids.
I was actually, because I went for so long, just going to work, taking care of my kids and doing my thing. When Arlen, that was one of the first conversations we had. He said, "You're going back to school." He said, "If we're going to be together, you're going back to school." He said, "Because I know you can do it." I was mad. I wouldn't speak to him for a week because
He was encouraging you to do
because
something.
I had never had anybody sit and tell me, it's okay. You can do this if you want to. I know you can do this. This is for you. This is not for me. This is for you. So I was angry. I said, I don't know who he thinks he is. Here I am, 27 years old, and that fool is trying to send me back to school. But he knew, because I went through that whole time feeling like I owed that to them.
Right.
Because I had worked minimum wage jobs their whole life.
And that's where you'll be stuck
yes.
if you don't get your training in minimum wage jobs. Kristen, do you remember the conversation we had with the young man in class who thought that 400, no, how much was it a month?
500.
800 a month.
800.
800 a month he could live on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? And who gave him the figures on what rent and everything would cost? You guys did, didn't you? Could he make it on minimum wage?
He
No,
found
I
out
think
he
had
was
like-
needing about 4,000 a
I
month
think
to
he
make
had
it.
like 120 left after that.
No, he remember by the time we got through, he didn't have any because
Oh.
he couldn't eat.
Oh,
He
yeah.
couldn't rent.
Video games or
No, we didn't even have electricity or water at that
yeah.
point.
You don't even need to be thinking about getting married. If that's
Don't
what
even
you
think
make.
about dating at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the other thing, religious beliefs and practices. Now, do you think somebody who believes to go to church on holidays and somebody who believes you need to go to church every week, you think they're going to be compatible? You think they're going to get along? Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so male or female, I don't care which one you pick, believes that you only go at Christmas, Easter,
oh no, they're not even gonna go on.
and the other one believes you need to go every week.
They don't get along
Why?
because
Because one believes different.
They do believe different, and somebody's going to be going to church by themselves, aren't they?
Yep.
If they go, or because they could be drug out of church. So, as you look at the social connection, all this stuff is very important. Don't add problems in before you ever get married. If you have problems with this stuff before you get married, you have no business getting married. There's a second part to the social connection. And this is patterns of relating. Social skills. How you get along and deal with other people. The level of social involvement. How to spend free time. Desires to be grouped in social gatherings. If someone who likes to be out and be with people marries someone who wants to always be by themselves, how's that going to work?
that's a lot.
Yeah, that could be problems. And if you're gravitated, you need to be gravitated towards the same type of people. Communication style, how you communicate to each other. Intellectual compatibility, educational background. Now, I'm not saying somebody with a college education has to be married to somebody with a college education. because there are people without a college education but a technical ed that have the same intellectual type compatibility and get along. You just need to know that y'all are going to talk at the same level, and one's not going to say, well, the other person is dumb or stupid because they're not very smart. So if you're attracted to go into a place like this and somebody else might rather go hiking, would you say they're going to be happy? They could possibly get along if they agree to do what the other person likes. And you go dancing sometime with the person who likes to go dancing, and that person who likes to go dancing goes hiking with the other person. But if you absolutely hate being in the dancing scene or hate being in the hiking scene, that's going to cause problems. So consequences, you got this, Kelsey?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Consequences of breaking this commandment. You will not be able to bear your soul with the person you love the most. You're going to close up. You're not going to share. You will experience unnecessary pain, frustration, and confusion because you are dating someone who is nothing like you. And you will drive yourself and your partner crazy because you are trying to change the unchangeable. And it's going to be like you're going to be like these two people right here. You're going to be in a tug of war. You're going to be pulling against each other at all times. And this cartoon kind of says it right here. We still have a few minor issues to work out. I want a huge wedding, and he wants to be single. And that happens sometimes. And sometimes people say, well, she tricked him into marrying her, or vice versa. And you might hear that pop up. And it could be something on this commandment. I was talking to someone the other day who was anti-cats because, number one, they were allergic to it. Mm-hmm. And number two, they didn't think the other person kept the cat litter cleaned it out as often as it should have been and didn't like the smell. And the question I asked the person is, would this person give up the cats for you? Because it's a health issue. And they said, probably not. So would you say that's a deal breaker? You would, CC? I think so. What do you think, Kristen? You think it's a deal breaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arlen doesn't like my dog in the house, but he's learning to love him. So
Do what?
I said Arlen doesn't like my dog in the house, but he's learning to love him, so it's all good.
That's one area we're fairly compatible. We don't mind the dog in the house, but we don't want one having accidents in the house.
Yeah.
And that's more...
That's why we keep them in crates.
That's why
Yeah.
they're crated. And actually, Sean was allowed to move freely in the house, but he would rather
He
die
never-
than have an accident.
He never had an accident.
Never. I mean, that dog would just die before he had an accident.
But those are far and few between.
Yeah. Yes.
Taz is like that too, but Arlen, when we lived in Iota, the little dog I had that I begged him for, somebody stole it, and he walked the ditch lines for 3 days to make sure this poor little dog had not got ran over or anything, because I was heartbroken. And he texted my best friend. He was like, please, for the love of God, find that woman a dog. So she brought him to me at work, and I was like, no, he'll be mad. He'll be so mad. And she's like, oh, I've already talked to him. It's okay. And he's like, if you love him, then that's fine.
So he's making concessions.
Yeah. We've learned to, and it's awkward when you come out of a relationship where you can't do that into a relationship where you can, because for a little while I would be like, what's your motive?
What? What are you up to?
What have you done?
Well, and I told the girls, I've told them several times, Bill's not a big horse person, but he has done this for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't, not a real big lake person, but I will go to the lake with him.
Right. Well, that's like Arlen. He's real big on hunting. Every once in a while, I'll get up at 4 a.m. before daylight in the cold and go to the woods with him. And I'll never say a word because he enjoys it and he says that's time
She'll
for us to
watch
spend
football,
together.
but she has no idea what she's talking about. It kills
Yeah, I
me.
don't know
I'm
what
like,
I'm talking about.
Don't watch it if you don't know what's
but
going on.
sometimes he'll go Christmas shopping with me, or we'll go hiking or something.
That's all it is.
And that's the give and take.
Yeah. And
It's not saying that you're gonna like every single thing equally, but you got to be compatible enough that you can
right,
and be willing to do the give and take.
because I do not like getting up and climbing in a tree stand at 4 o'clock when it's 10 degrees. But I love him, so I'll do it.
Now I would like that better than I care for the lake, and I think it probably comes back to I was in a accident when we were many years ago where I almost drowned. So
Oh yeah, probably.
now I made myself get back in the thing, but anytime there's any stress or anything on the lake, that flashes back for me.
Yeah.
And then there are benefits to keep this commandment. The unveiling. Skylar likes the curtains coming back. You will be able to experience the joy of a true, deep spiritual connection. Nothing brings you more peace than being able to go to your partner and say, hey, let's pray about this. And if you're at odds with your partner and your heart's not right, God's not going to hear your prayer anyway.
That's one thing the Bible definitely teaches, that if a husband and wife are arguing, that they might as well not even pray. They better get right with each other before they go to pray, because God's not going to hear their prayers.
You will also be on the same page morally, socially, and mentally. And morally could be, let's talk about allowing your kids to date. One parent says, oh, it's okay, they can go and do whatever they want to. The other parent says, no, I need to know where they're going, what time they're going to be there, what time they're going to be home. And as a teenager, you may feel like you have a clock in, clock out sheet. But I am thankful that that's how my mom and dad were. I felt like I needed a GPS on me and I needed to clock in everywhere I went to let them know. But I will also tell you, and girls look at me, I really want you to get this point here. The nice thing about that is, when you're in an uncomfortable situation, you can always look at whoever it is and say, I can't, my parents will kill me. Your parents are there to throw under the bus and blame
Every time.
to get you out of an uncomfortable situation. And if you're not strong enough on your own to do that, throw your parents under the bus. My parents will know. They'll say, no, they won't find out. And you can say, no, my parents always find out. I don't know how, but they always find out.
Every time.
Yes. And it's okay to throw your parents under the bus. That's what they're there for. Blame it on them. You can also have codes. My daughter and I had a code, even when she spent the night with a friend. If she was in trouble, she would call, and I could tell. I'd say, do you need to come home? And she'd say yes. And I would say, you tell them I'm coming to pick you up. And we would make up some excuse, and I would come pick her up, and it was always my fault. And that's okay.
Yep.
Because my job is to keep my children safe. Your mom's job is to keep you safe.
Yep.
You will minimize the stress and conflict that comes with differences. And like I told you, Bill loves the lake. I love the horses. But he accommodates me. I try to accommodate him, but he hasn't been going to the lake every time I've offered. And he feels a lot of responsibility about keeping everything mowed up, so that's probably why. But you want to be able to grow old with somebody, enjoy things together, whether it's whatever your hobby of choice is. And it could be give and take. You do a little bit that I like to do, and I'll do a little bit that you like to do. And you've heard compromise on your mom and Arlen's part on some things. You've heard compromise on mine and Bill's part on some things. But you want to make it where you're not having to compromise on everything.
Right.
Or one person's always giving and the other person's always taking.
That's what that dating time is for, to see if they are going to compromise. If they're not, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Your life is, if you marry somebody that you ought not marry,
Your life's going to be HE double hockey sticks. HE double hockey sticks.
and you're going to waste,
That's just the
You're-
bottom line.
you're going to waste your valuable life
Yeah.
on somebody that doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Give it time, because they can play out anything for a short amount of time.
The dating is the best it will ever be.
Yep. And they can be super, super sweet to you, and sugar wouldn't melt in their mouth for 6 months, a year. But then you wind up in a situation that they're a part of, and then they're like, oh, whoa, hold up. I didn't sign up for that.
If you choose wisely and you stay in the scriptures, you make your list, you see that red flag, it'll be hard, but you just walk away. As hard as it'll be so much easier than if you make the wrong choice.
If you make the decision, you're not getting serious with anybody to a certain until you're mature enough,
Until you get your education and stuff out of the way.
Yep.
then there's no temptation to get serious, because you've already made the decision and you're not allowed yourself to get serious, and it's no big deal.
And my suggestion would be, until you have your education, just decide to go out with groups. Not on single dates. Just go out with... Not saying that you have to be a miser or a hermit and not be with anybody, but go out with groups.
And this-
a group of guys.
This is why God has told us in the Bible not to have intimate relationship with anybody that we're not married to.
Because you're giving part of yourself away, and you may be giving part
God
of
knows
your
if
future
you
husband's
do. God
stuff
knows if
away.
you do that you have the potential of destroying your whole future,
Yep.
rest of your life. Because once you go to that step, then it's almost impossible
to go back.
to go back.